Every NBA dynasty hides a secret weapon. For the Spurs, it's not the 7-4 phenom everyone talks about. And somehow, the league still hasn't caught on. San Antonio has always had this gift, turning the overlooked into the unforgettable. Tony Parker was too small. Manu Ginobili was just a late pick from Argentina. Both became legends. And now in 2025, that story feels like it's repeating, this time with Jeremy Sochan. What makes it wild is how quiet the rise has been. Everyone's busy watching Wemby highlights, but while defenses collapse on the Giant, Sochan slips through cracks, doing the dirty work that doesn't show up in stat sheets. It's not loud dominance. It's the kind that sneaks up and stuns you. He isn't polished like Wemby. He isn't flashy like Fox, and he doesn't have the hype of Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper. But game after game, he's becoming the Spur who turns close battles into wins. He's doing it his way, loud, bold, and completely un-Spurs-like. Let's be real. Jeremy Sochan was never going to blend quietly into San Antonio's tradition of buttoned-up superstars. He was born in Oklahoma, grew up in England, speaks Polish, and flips between accents like a comedian. One night his hair is neon pink, next week it's icy blue, and by the playoffs it's blonde. Spurs fans never know what's coming next, but they love it. In an era where players brand themselves as much as they ball, Sochan leans into it. He's a self-proclaimed Guna, cracks jokes at pressers, and even has a viral song with more than 18 million YouTube views. That's not Tim Duncan's quiet dominance. It's not Kawhi Leonard's robotic silence. It's something new, and it's exactly what today's NBA fans connect with. And his off-court energy fuels his on-court edge. Teammates say his jokes loosen locker room tension, but opponents see a player who never backs down, no matter the matchup. That blend of swagger and grit, that's what separates cult heroes from just another role player. But don't mistake personality for distraction. The foundation of Sochan's rise is defense. At 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, he's a nightmare matchup. Guards think they can blow by him until he flips his hips and shuts down the drive. Forwards try to body him until they realize he's stronger than he looks. Even bigs can't just bully him in the post. Anthony Edwards learned it the hard way when Sochan forced him into a miss and then blocked his follow-up attempt. Marcus Sasser thought he had him on skates with 2 crossovers, only for Sochan to recover and swat the shot into the crowd. Ivica Zubac? Stuffed at the rim by a guy giving up 3 inches and 30 pounds. These aren't one-off plays. This is his identity. Coaches now circle his name before every matchup. Don't let him switch onto our star. And when you throw Victor Wembanyama into the mix, good luck. On their own, they're elite defenders. Together, they're terrifying. Opponents trying to score inside against Wemby and Sochan shoot nearly 8% worse at the rim this season. That's not just a stat. It's a psychological barrier. Guards hesitate. Wings settle for jumpers. Even all-stars start second-guessing drives. It's like playing against a wall that moves, recovers, and never gets tired. One pushes you into bad angles, the other erases whatever's left. For San Antonio, that duo isn't just defense, it's identity. It's how they've kept themselves in playoff races against deeper, more experienced teams. Of course, defense only takes you so far in today's NBA. The question with Sochan has always been, can he score enough to stay on the floor when it matters? Early years, the answer looked like no. His jumper was broken, his mid-range was shaky, and his short-lived Point Sochan experiment made him the internet's favorite target for memes. But in 2025, things are changing. His field goal percentage has jumped 10 points from last season. He's attacking the rim with purpose, finishing with strength, and even adding counters. A spin jumper here, a crafty left-hand finish there. Against Julius Randle, he muscled his way into the paint and scored through contact. Against Jeremy Grant, he controlled the dribble under pressure and hammered home a dunk in transition. The three-pointer, still a work in progress. But the form looks smoother, the release quicker, and defenders can't just camp in the paint anymore. Even hitting at 32% is enough to stretch defenses a little. And that small shift makes life easier for Wemby and Fox. Now let's revisit that wild chapter, Point Sochan. When the Spurs first gave him the keys, it was ugly. Turnovers piled up, analysts roasted him. Fans wondered if the team was sabotaging its own rebuild. But here's what people forget. Sochan had never played point guard before. Not as a kid, not in college. And despite the struggles, he showed flashes, passing vision, pace control, a knack for finding cutters. Now that De'Aaron Fox runs the show, Sochan doesn't have to be the main creator, but the experience stuck with him. Today, he's a 6'8" forward who can rebound, push the pace, and dime up teammates. That's rare. Case in point, January against the Nuggets. Sochan grabbed a board, ran an inverted pick and roll with Wemby, faked the handoff, and fired a no-look pass to Keldon Johnson for an easy bucket. The crowd exploded. Suddenly, the worst player in the league memes didn't seem so funny. That's the beauty of development. It doesn't happen in a straight line. One season you're a meme, the next, you're the X factor against contenders. Sochan embodies that unpredictability. Every mistake became a lesson, and every stumble added toughness. Now, instead of ridicule, he's earning respect across the league. But here's where things get tricky. The Spurs are crowded with non-shooters. De'Aaron Fox does his best work in the paint. Rookie Stefan Castle isn't a sniper. Dylan Harper's strength is slashing, not spacing. Add Wemby, who dominates near the rim, and suddenly the floor feels small. That makes Sochan's development urgent. If his jumper doesn't come around, he risks being the odd man out. Not because of talent, but because of fit. It's the cold reality of the NBA. Even great defenders sometimes get sacrificed for shooting. But here's the flip side. If he does become a reliable shooter, the Spurs won't just keep him. They'll unleash a two-way weapon that makes their young core almost impossible to guard. This season feels like Sochan's turning point. On one hand, he could fade into the role of quirky defender, fun personality, locker room guy, but eventually traded for spacing. On the other, he cements himself as the glue of a rising dynasty. So far, the second path looks more likely. His numbers are climbing. His defense is elite. His chemistry with Wemby is undeniable. And quietly, coaches around the league are starting to whisper what fans haven't caught on to yet. This kid might be the key to San Antonio's future. History tells us every great dynasty had a hidden weapon. The Warriors had Draymond. The Bulls had Rodman. The Heat had Shane Battier. The crazy part? He's only 22. Most players his age are still figuring out rotations or fighting for minutes. Sochan's already shaping playoff games and drawing all-star assignments. That timeline isn't normal. It's accelerated. And if this is his floor, imagine what his ceiling looks like in 3 years. The Spurs? They might have Jeremy Sochan. He's not the face of the franchise. That's Wemby's job. But every empire needs its enforcer, its connector, its guy who turns chaos into control. Sochan is on his way to becoming that. And if he does, when people look back at the Spurs' next era of greatness, they'll realize the signs were there all along. So while the world keeps obsessing over Victor Wembanyama, don't forget the guy standing right next to him. Jeremy Sochan might not trend every night, but he's the Spur no one is talking about, and maybe the one making the biggest difference. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, share it with another Hoops fan, and make sure you're subscribed. Trust me, this Spurs story, it's just heating up.